chance of having identical twins is about 1 in 250. The chance of those same twins going to Harvard, being classmates with Mark Zuckerberg, inspiring him to make Facebook, later suing him for making Facebook, parlaying their lawsuit money into being some of the biggest cryptocurrency entrepreneurs in the world, starting a shady cover band called Mars Junction, and then getting sued by the Attorney General for allegedly defrauding investors through their cryptocurrency exchange. Well, the chances of all that happening, unfortunately, aren't zero. Today we examine the journey of Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. So everybody, throw on your polos, fire up your Range Rovers, and get your wealth manager on the line. It's time to talk Winklevi. We first became aware of Jay and crew over here after they were played by the famously chill Armie Hammer in the 2010 bangin' film The Social Network. The movie tells the story of how the twins sued Mark Zuckerberg for stealing the idea that became Facebook. In real life, they received $65 million for the settlement, the majority of which was put into Facebook stock. That figure would then quickly balloon to over $600 million. The settlement gave the Winklevi the opportunity to do what every pair of hot-loaded siblings dreams of doing. Invest. In the years following their big Facebook settlement, the twins launched their family office Winklevoss Capital. Their investments range from pretty normal to crazy shit like this company, trying to solve climate change by reviving the woolly mammoth. But in the early 2010s, the Winkles made an investment that would be the fundamental building block of their next chapter. Bitcoin. Somewhere around 2012, the Winkles started scooping up Bitcoins like they were Olympic sixth-place medals. By the next year, the brothers reportedly held 1% of all Bitcoins in circulation, and pretty soon, it became their whole thing.
Every Bitcoin issue has never been a Bitcoin problem.
We believe Bitcoin disrupts gold.
If you own a Bitcoin today, you will be a millionaire.
We eat, sleep, breathe Bitcoin every single second of the day.
Soon they filed a proposal trying to create the first US regulated crypto exchange, a model that would allow everyday investors to trade crypto, kind of like how people trade stocks. Eventually they launched their own exchange in October 2015, and they called it Gemini.
The advantage of Gemini that the Winklevi said was that it was going to be this highly regulated exchange. So it'd be a differentiator because they would go in through the front door with regulators and try and create this product that wouldn't collapse in a pile of flames and sadness.
Aw, but I love piles of flames and sadness. Can I have one as a little treat? Yes!
Gemini is also put forth this reputation of being someone who's very highly regulated. The twins have called for regulation in the crypto industry. They are based in New York, where they've worked with regulators there.
Leo Schwartz and Hannah Miller are two crypto reporters who have written extensively about Gemini. And we got them on the horn to explain that while many early crypto moguls were anti-government, Gemini's tactic was to publicly cooperate with regulators as much as possible. But despite the Winkles' growing personal fortune by getting in early on Bitcoin, they were literally becoming billionaires off of this shit. Gemini itself was being outpaced by other exchanges. Maybe because of Gemini's focus on playing by the rules. But if I know anything about Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss, it's that they're not gonna sit idly by while some fucking nerd beats them at their own game. At least not again.
So I think at some point the Winklevi or Winklevoss twins realized that the exchange wasn't going to make enough money for them. So what they set out to do was create basically a high yield savings account type product for their customers, where customers could go on, buy cryptocurrencies, and then those cryptocurrencies would be lent out to other partners, and they would earn a yield back on that up to 8%.
So the Winkles had themselves a thinkle and decided to jack up Gemini with a high-yield savings account-like program they called Earn.
You could promise customers, oh, you're gonna earn 8% and not have to work at all for it. You just put your money with us, we'll invest it out, we'll do all the messy math, and you're gonna get money back. And that's way more attractive to people than, a traditional savings account when the interest on that is going to be incredibly low.
When Gemini launched Earn in February 2021, Tyler Winklevoss said that, quote, today's investors know that a smart, diverse portfolio includes crypto. It's an investment in their future selves. Gemini also stressed that Earn customers could redeem their crypto at any time. But the idea of a product like this wasn't new to crypto exchanges. A bunch of other companies had their own versions. And how did those go, Hannah?
There are several of these types of products available. Big names in crypto lending include BlockFi and Celsius. Both these companies have filed for bankruptcy.
But Gemini was different, right? They're safe. They got all these ads.
Now, who was Gemini lending their money out to?
So this is the slightly shady part, is for Gemini, if you're a Gemini Earn customer, it wasn't necessarily clear how they were earning that yield. In reality, what was happening is they were going behind the scenes and giving all of the cryptocurrency to a lending platform called Genesis.
So the reality of Gemini's Earn program was that it was really more of a partnership between Gemini and another crypto lender, Genesis, which we should say now is not Gemini. There's Gemini, who we've been talking about, and Genesis, whole new character we just welcomed. Different company, sounds the same. Gemini, Winkles. Genesis, other one. It's not embarrassing. It's okay to be confused.
I think kind of handing off, maybe the messy bits to Genesis was helpful. The investment of the actual crypto, getting the interest, like giving customers yield, and Gemini kind of had the branding.
But this arrangement wasn't obvious.
The way that they presented the Gemini Earn to their customers was that they were doing these very sophisticated trades to get back 8% yields for the investors. In reality, what they were doing is they found a single counterparty to give all the money to.
Shubhankar Gahlot is a software engineer who says that he invested 6 figures into a Gemini Earn account in 2021. He claims that he had no idea Gemini partnered with Genesis on the product.
Whenever I received their marketing emails, or even on their social media, when they promoted Earn, they never mentioned Genesis, that we are partnering with Genesis for this program. They do mention it in their terms and conditions, and obviously that's the fine print.
Ah, the fine print. I know many a fine man who have been lost to the fine print. Doug from the ski group, DraftKings took you too soon. I'll see you in hell. Anyway, in marketing materials, Gemini tended to portray Genesis as a smaller part of the operation than they actually were. In an email promoting Earn from February 9th, 2021, Gemini doesn't mention Genesis until the last section subtitled, "What are the risks?" where they say that they're, quote, partnering with accredited third-party borrowers, including Genesis, who are vetted through a risk management framework. But despite all that talky talk, it seems like Gemini and Genesis approached this whole risk management thing pretty fast and loose.
What Genesis was doing was lending nearly all of the cryptocurrencies to 2 big players in crypto. One of them is Alameda, the failed trading firm for Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX, and the other was Three Arrows Capital, a hedge fund that also collapsed in spectacular fashion.
In summer 2022, following the unexpected collapse of a type of cryptocurrency called Terra USD, Three Arrows Capital, which was one of the most respected investing institutions in the industry, suddenly went bankrupt. This had a catastrophic effect on its investors, including FTX, which Genesis had a lot of exposure to. But Gemini's risk management framework should be all over this, right? Well, it turns out it kinda was. According to legal documents, months before Three Arrows went bankrupt, Gemini had revised its internal estimate of Genesis Capital's credit rating from BBB, which means investment grade, to CCC, which means non-investment or junk grade. And as Three Arrows was collapsing in July 2022, when advised of Genesis's financial condition, one Gemini board member even compared Genesis to Lehman Brothers prior to its collapse. In fact, by late summer, it seemed like Gemini was getting ready to call Genesis on their loans and end the Earn program to protect its customers. They actually withdrew over $280 million from Genesis as a risk management measure.
At the time that the Winklevoss twins would have been considering ending Earn, the entire crypto industry was on edge.
But good God damn it, there's no quitting these guys. You cannot spell Winklevoss with quit. As Gemini became more aware of Genesis's problems, the Winklevoss twins met with Barry Silbert, the guy who owns Genesis Capital. And more legal documents demonstrate that it was Silbert who helped convince them not to end the Earn program.
The general gist that we've gotten is that, it was a lot of, saying don't worry about it, easing of concerns that were there.
A couple months later, FTX's sister trading firm Alameda Research, which at one point constituted 60% of Genesis's deal book, famously followed Three Arrows into Davy Jones's crypto locker, at which point Genesis halted Gemini Earn redemptions, freezing about $1 billion from 200,000 Earn users, including Shuby, who said that he was intending on using that money to fund his wedding.
We were planning to get married, and I thought we We would have been married by now, I guess. As soon as this thing blew up, it was like a nuclear bomb went off or something.
Shubhy also says that throughout the summer of 2022, as crypto firms were collapsing, Gemini didn't warn Earn customers about increased risk levels, despite their internal investigations.
Publicly, a bunch of customers for Gemini Earn saw major players in the space start to collapse like Three Arrows Capital and would reach out to Gemini and be like, do you have the same risk? And Gemini would write back and say, no, we're doing very advanced trading strategies, everything's fine. Behind the scenes, they realized that Genesis was under-collateralized and had a lot of risk because they were exposed to players like Three Arrows Capital, and they realized that this program would likely fail. They actually tried to cancel the agreement with Genesis before Genesis went bankrupt and started halting withdrawals. And in the meantime, even though privately they were trying to end the program, they were still accepting deposits from Gemini Earn customers.
A couple months after Genesis froze withdrawals, the lawsuits started rolling in. At the end of December 2022, investors in Gemini Earn filed a class action suit against Gemini and the Winklevosses, which is ongoing. And a couple weeks after that, in January 2023, the SEC got in on the action, suing Gemini and Genesis for selling unregistered securities, which Tyler called both disappointing and super lame. Then later that month, Genesis officially filed for bankruptcy, and Cameron Winklevoss wrote an open letter to Genesis CEO Barry Silbert, accusing him of bad-faith stall tactics that misled the Winklevi into keeping the Earn program running, which set off a flurry of lawsuits, open letters, and tweets between the Winklevi and Silbert, basically accusing each other of being responsible for the lost billions of dollars of Earn customer money that has continued right up to today. My crypto twin kings love drama.
It's just been a series of lawsuits. It's been very public spats on Twitter, and it's gotten really ugly for an industry that is already facing so many troubles.
All this hot action climaxed with the New York Attorney General suing Gemini, Genesis, and Genesis's parent company, Digital Currency Group, in October, which brings us to one of the defining questions of crypto in these last 2 years. Will people get their money back?
So the odds seem pretty good. Genesis and Gemini have been going back and forth over bankruptcy agreements, basically to make sure that money will get paid back to Gemini creditors. In different proposals, Gemini customers have seen the potential money they could get back being as high as 100%.
So look, the story is pretty convoluted. Gemini, Genesis, DCG, Three Arrows, Winklevoss. It's really more terms than a YouTube video should have. But the story is not unique. It's one of the multiple cases in the crypto industry where people have lost a lot of money, and they don't know whether they'll get it back.
I talked to people who have been customers of multiple bankrupt platforms, FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, and are just not sure if they're going to recover their savings.
So we don't know what's going to happen to the over $1 billion that's currently frozen in the Gemini Earn program. Just like we don't know what's going to happen with the crypto industry at large, which continues to ride a crazy roller coaster. In the past few months, there have been severe regulatory actions, but also there's talks of an ETF being approved soon. The price of Bitcoin kind of looks promising. I don't know. But what we do know is how the Winklevi have handled this situation so far. On the one hand, it seems like they tried to do all of this right. They wanted to work with regulators, and they registered Gemini in New York. So now the New York Attorney General can try to get the Earn customers their money back. But on the other hand, they continued to take users' money while they were ignoring the risks with Genesis and kept talking about how safe and secure their company was the entire time. And for all their talk about being knee-deep in the trenches with the folks that got screwed in this, they're also doing shit like playing in their cover band days after they lay off 10% of their staff. So it's hard to tell how serious the Winklevi are about leading their company and the crypto industry at large into the future. Matter of fact, these fellas got so much going on, it's hard to tell what they're about at all. Being the guys who stuck it to Zuck, being the guys who bring the woolly mammoth back to life. Rock stars? Olympians? Just being famous? I don't know. But maybe they don't either. But damn if we don't spend a weird amount of time talking about these guys. Which is maybe what they want. Oh God, is that what they're about? Hey folks, AI-generated Dan here, holding down the fort while Boss Man is out hunting for treasure in Guadalajara. I'm here to give you all a quick update from our story today. On December 13th, Gemini emailed Earn users asking for them to vote on a new proposed bankruptcy plan that's designed to distribute funds from the Genesis Chapter 11 proceedings. And while this might sound like good news, many Earn users aren't happy with it and are actually encouraging other users to vote against it. Probably because under this new plan, Gemini says that users can expect to recover between 61 and 100% of their earned balance, which you'll notice is different from 100% of their earned balance. Users will vote on this plan in the next couple of weeks, and if it passes, the bankruptcy court in the Southern District of New York will make a decision on February 14th, which you might notice is Valentine's Day, or the day that I feverishly read bankruptcy filings while chained to a bottle of Adderall in my basement. Until next time, folks, love ya.